Welcome, everyone. This is Regenerative Culture Podcast with Yoshi Pantera. Really sharing stories, talking about everything surrounding regeneration and how we can regenerate our cultures. So, this is a very important aspect of our existence in our planet based on what is happening in the world, unfortunate things that we don't agree with. So, regenerating our mindset, our body, and overall our ecosystems can help move forward towards a more abundant, thriving world for our future generations. And today we have a special guest, Bodhi Samuel, and he reached out to me wanting to have a conversation about community lifestyle and their project. So we relate with what we're doing here, and we can go deep on this topic to really learn how to build community, what is the importance of being with community, and how we can expand this awareness and practice around the world. So, Bodhi, ¿cómo estás, hermano?
Hey, ¿qué tal? Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Where in the world are you?
Right now I'm in Southern California in a little town called Bombay Beach, which is like if Burning Man was a town, this is the town.
Cool.
And I'll be headed to Europe for the summer.
Nice. Yeah, I really lived in California for 12 years in San Francisco Bay Area. I went to Burning Man a few years already since 2009. So it was a big part of my transformation as well, and especially the aspect of community, how to collaborate together, how to build together. We can build the most biggest dreams with community.
It's crazy.
Always with trust. The trust is the most basic, let's say, source for anything to be built. So since that time, in my experiences with community and Burning Man and all this beautiful stuff, a lot has happened, and I'm sure for you as well. And we're going to talk about that today. In your vision about Community Lab, right? So the project that you're saying is in Sweden. So tell us about where you are right now and what you're doing and why you're going to Europe. And then I'm going to ask you more questions.
Absolutely. I really love what you said. I mean, I just want to say there was two things that popped up just in the last moments when you talked about regeneration. And it made me think of like, oh, when I cut myself, my body, if I just keep the wound clean, my body naturally like glues itself back together. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know how to do that. Doctors maybe just support that process and like keep it clean and support the regeneration. But I feel like there's this really cool like feature on our planet, on Earth, where things come back together. They come together like naturally. And sometimes we like cut them apart when I'm like cutting something, and then it just comes back together. And I'm like, wow. Like, what if instead of cutting things apart, more of my life was like supporting that coming together, my environment. And I think that's been a really big part of my life. Like there's been different moments in my life where I'm sitting in a city, in an apartment alone, and it's like really effortful for me to come together with people that I love because they're working or I have other commitments. And it's like, oh yeah, I'll meet you in 2 weeks at 7 p.m. for 1 hour to have some quality time. And I'm like, man, that's so effortful. Like, it's really effortful. My like natural state is kind of like separated, physically separated. And I feel like for me, community is like high proximity to other people with similar vision, similar desires, passions, qualities, that something magical happens, which I'm sure you saw at Burning Man as well, where I walk out of my little room and all of a sudden something spontaneous occurs where someone's like, oh, hey man, I was looking for you. Can we talk about this? Or like, hey, can I have a hug? And so like these like really special moments of like care or fun or intrigue or passion or desire, like really naturally appear. So like there's something really fantastic about like high proximity people, especially living for a long period of time together. And I'll speak more about Community Lab in a bit that supports that, but I just wanted to kind of like, that's what community is for me. That's like one really deep aspect of community.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. how to come together for a greater purpose, just like our body heals itself amazingly, magically. And we can see that in a surrounding environment with nature, and then therefore also our relationships, how we can come together to heal things or build things, and that's important. Mhm.
Yeah. So community labs like supporting this. Like in my own life, I grew up at summer camp. I had this like 1 month a year of summer camp, and I had these like really deep relationships over like 17 years. And I remember asking my mother, like, why are my friends? I was really young. I was like, why are my friends at summer camp? I'm so close with them after a month. But my friends in like high school, in my Western high school, it's been like 10 years and I'm not that close with them. And this was like a question, like, what's happening at summer camp that's not happening in my daily life? And yeah, it's like time together, like similar culture. Like we would cuddle and sing together and we'd be outside all the time. Um, so community lab is like an essence of that. It's like I've been to lots of festivals and it has a similar quality, but a festival is like a week long. And we were like, we have so many friends, the 5 of us who started building Community Lab, which is a 2 month community incubator over the summer. That's like similar-esque to Burning Man. And we said, yeah, we have a lot of friends who want to live in community, but like, how do you live in community? Like, do I just like call people that I like and I'm like, hey, should we buy a $200,000 piece of land together? Oh, by the way, like how do we make decisions together? Like, well, what if I want something, but you don't want something? Then what do we do as a group of 10 or 40 or 80? Yeah. And so we thought, okay, well, instead of like, that doesn't seem like a viable option. What if you could like date a community for 2 months? What if I could come together and make a little camp of 10 to 12 people focused around a specific research topic? We have one that's like a tiny house building camp. We have a body work camp. We have one that's like listeners camp. It's like learning how to listen deeply to nature and each other. What if we could gather around a topic and spend 2 months together? And actually like the bonds that form, I mean, like that is an incredible process that happens over time. And then what happens after those 2 months? Maybe a couple of the people are like, hey, actually, I really like you. Can we live together for another 6 months? Or maybe 3 of them kind of like fall in love and they're like, hey, let's be co-parents. I think there's a lot of options that happen after a 2 month, very deep experience of co-living.
Why exactly 2 months?
Because it's a great question. First of all, I would be like a year. Like I'm like a year, 5 years. But I think it's like stepping stones. Like I think it's very common in the types of communities that I hang out in for people to go for a week or 2 weeks. And we're like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step of lengthening the amount of time together? And I would say 2 months is long enough that you can get in conflict with people and you have to face it. This is really important. After a week, you can have an issue with somebody, but you can like sneak away from it. So 2 months is like you have to face conflict. But it's still within a period of time where people aren't like, oh, I need to put my entire life aside for an entire year. So we're trying to find this like stair step that like, okay, we do 2 months now. And then maybe after a couple of years, we have enough people that are like, okay, let's do a year experiment. We found an Ecovillage that can host us for a year. And slowly, organically stepping up to building long-term community. Because I feel like my option right now is like join a community, which is just getting married. That's like immediately getting married. So we're like, okay, what does a slower, deeper pace look like?
Mm-hmm. Like if there's a community already established, the Ecovillage, and they're opening space for new members, it's like, wait, I don't want to get married yet. I want to get to know you first. Then is there like an event you're having first so I can see how you're doing things and maybe stay for a month, like a accommodation for a month, and then have the chance to leave, right? Same thing to buy land or to buy a house even. You don't want to commit just like that. You want to stay in that house at least for a week with sleeping on the floor to feel the energy before you commit to buying 10 years of paying this house that you don't know about. You don't even know the neighbors, you don't know the school or the climate. So
it's so odd. Like, I just want to say, like, that is the current model. Like, I just bought a small piece of land, and like, that isn't an option to come live there for a week, or at least it wasn't an option for me. And it's interesting, like, what an odd thing where it's like actually being integrated is so important, at least to me. Like, but if I'm buying a piece of property in a neighborhood, it's like I actually want to be integrated. But like our current model is like, yeah, look at it. You can come for 15 minutes or an hour, and, and I'm like, wait, like the permaculture principles are like you go to a place for a year, see every season
before you do anything,
before you even touch it.
yeah,
It's like, listen, start by listening. So we want to cultivate an environment where it's like actually all you have to do this 2 months is like be there, listen, be with these people, and like no commitments beyond that, but actually you just sense into what wants to happen, if that makes sense.
beautiful, man. That's important. And I totally agree with it. We do something similar, not for 2 months, but our longest we've done is 21 days. And it's different experiments, different experiences, different groups, different experiences. And it's so important to have that little taste. What is it to live in a community? What is it to live in nature? Like, I want to live in nature, and then they're in nature. Like, I don't want to touch anything. Ah. So it's yeah, we want to live in paradise, but we don't know how to live with paradise, basically. So it's important to have these spaces like you're creating, to have a sense of it, prepare and train yourself with other people. Train yourself with communication, with non-reactions, with decision making, with activations, either physically or technologically. So a lot of people that I've talked to, I don't want to live in community. It's too much. It's too hard. It's too much energy. I just want to buy a homestead land, live on my own, do my own thing, and just not participate with anybody, anything. And just, if I want to see people, I'll just go out to town. And it's like, that's great. That's great, brother. You can design your own life however you want. And I actually support, if you want to also live off grid, come out, and there's no rule of how you can live, right? You can create your own thing. So you can buy your piece of land, and you want to invite others to buy a piece of land around you, so you can have cool neighbors and not neighbors that are like giving you problems for all kinds of things. So then you can do your own lifestyle and nobody's going to bother you. You can be in your house for 6 months, nobody's going to bother you, and then you want to come out, meet other people. That's cool. So there's ways to do it. So it's not like, oh, I want to live in community. I don't want to live in community because I'm going to just surrender to my privacy. It's not about that. And a lot of people are afraid of those things. So talk to me a little more about that.
That's so beautiful. I really love what you're sharing. It's like we're talking about like needs, different needs. And something I'm really fascinated about is, and I love, like, this is kind of our design of Community Lab, is that we have 4 different camps. And each camp is a microculture. And each microculture will be designing their cultural experience. Do we want to eat all of our meals together? Do we want to like have one person cooking each day for everybody else? Do we want to have a shared kitchen and actually I can just use the kitchen, for example? Do you want to eat our meals alone? So these are like really basic level life design topics. How much time do we want to spend together? How much time do we want to spend alone? That I think are often things that I take for granted because it's just the design of life, or the physical structures in the city kind of dictate the way that I spend my time. But now we have the option to really look at things and be like, wait, what do I long for? And also, it's interesting because it's like things that I think that I long for when I'm actually in the situation. I love what you said. It's like, I want to live in nature. And it's like, wait, what does that actually mean? What are the skills that I need? What does it mean to like live in nature? Am I living primitively and I live in a tent, or I build my own shelter, or I have a house that's indoor, outdoor? I mean, it's really fascinating. But so something that's really interesting for us is like, what does it look like to support microcultures being born and living symbiotically together? So instead of like, hey, we're 80 people and we're all doing the same thing, we have, let's say like 50 to 60 people, actually is probably what will be maximum, split into smaller groups that have their own longings and needs. And within those, there's probably even more subtle longings and needs within the people. And I really love this. It's like, how do we support? I think it's like really possible to support everybody to get their needs met if we have good systems, good tools, and the ability to listen to each other.
Yes, definitely. Like you said, good space, good tools, the ability to listen, communicate, feel from the heart, having spaces to go deeper on situations like we call the corazonar. Corazón is heart. Razonar is reason. So it's a space to share from the heart and mind and be truthful, like, be honest and open up to solve anything, and realize that we're here for the greater good, and let go of our attachments for a little bit and our differences for a little bit, and let's come together for the greater good of what we're doing here. So going through that process really helps expand ourselves in every way, consciousness, mind, health, and continue experimenting. And we're not like reinventing things, right? But we have forgotten a lot for thousands of years of how to live in a tribe community, how to trust, So now we've been separated for generations, where the best thing to do is be successful on your own. You're gonna do great, and you're gonna grow and become a multimillionaire or whatever on yourself. That's the power. It's like, what? It takes away all the fun, right? To do things together with other people and make things happen. And now with AI, they're doing that. The first $1 trillion company, one single person, is out. Now it's more possible than ever because of the AI agents and whatever. Like, why do we want to do that? So
What happened?
yeah. So yeah, I'm just experimenting with this era, with this age of like, okay, what's possible? What do we know so far, and what can we learn through this process? And I like your experiment. I like that idea that you mentioned, that to divide 4 microcultures within this group, to even accelerate the process of experimenting different examples of like, what's happening here? Okay, this happened here, and track as much as possible and see, okay, this worked here, but wait, let me make it more difficult for you. Each person has a whole different personality according to when they were born, how were they raised, what country they come from. There's all these variables that create the experience and the design of the structure of the microculture that you're implementing affects according to who is involved in these microcultures. Yeah. Because if you keep track of it, I'm just saying the idea there, no? If you say, okay, this person, these type of people are from this culture, they have, I don't know if you're into human design, they have this type of human design or astrological aspect or archetype, and then this other one, and then the microcultures have these experiences. Like I can already imagine the wonders of experiences there that we can learn from. So I'm probably you thought about that too.
So yeah, this is beautiful. I'm going to take a minute to give the design of our kind of 2-month curriculum, just to give like a concept of like, oh yeah, what are we actually doing when we get there? And I really want to speak to this. So basically we'll arrive we'll have 10 days of build, which is like building our microculture in our camp. And also literally like, we'll have like really big tents. We'll go get furniture and like furnish the tents. We'll build our little kitchen. We'll design our structures, our like chores and what do you call them? Responsibilities to the camp. Like when's your cooking shift, things like this. Then we'll have 3 weeks of curriculum time where each camp will focus. It'll almost be like 3 different immersions where they get to focus on their topic. So tiny house camp is like going to focus on building a tiny house for those like 3 weeks. Then we'll have like a midway kind of like presentations, which is exactly what you were sharing, which is like, okay, what worked for you guys? What's been going on? What have you been learning? Like we're going to be sharing with each other. And then we'll have almost like a 2-week period of like village time, where now we don't have camp curriculums anymore, but now anyone can offer workshops, almost like a little festival, to anybody else in the village. So there will be like huge cross-camp collaborations and things like this, which could be like, it could be like, hey, I'm teaching a yoga class this morning, or someone else is like, hey, we're actually going to continue building the tiny house. Anyone who wants to come learn can come learn now, things like this. Or we're doing a bodywork clinic for the entire campus. And then we'll have takedown, basically. And yeah, I love what you're saying, which is like each individual is unique and brings their own unique personality. And I've been living in a community experiment. Similarly, I've been at Mars College, which is in Southern California, which is actually inspires us. We have different little camps. It's almost like a Burning Man environment for 3 months, actually. And we've started noticing that there's really important like weekly things happening that support the like health and hygiene of our group. Living in high proximity to other people, different personalities can bring challenges, can bring conflict and disagreements, which is like awesome. That's totally fine. But what do we do about it? Like, okay, yeah, when I eat, I get plaque on my teeth. Do I brush them? Oh yeah, I brush them and it's okay. It's a maintenance practice. And so there's like a couple things. One is like sociocracy, which is like, how do we make decisions together? And this actually really supports. That's one, and I'll talk about that soon maybe. But the other one is our emotional clearing or cleanse practice, which we do every week, which we recommend. There's like a million ways to do this. But for example, the little group that I'm with does it really beautifully. We have 3 rounds and we go in like person. So no one's talking for more than like 5 minutes. I'm talking for like maximum 45 seconds. The first round is you get to be a teenager and you can call other people out on things that you don't like that they've done. So I'm like, oh, David like never shows up for this. And then pass, it goes to the next person. And someone's like, yeah, I don't like that this is happening. So I'm just getting charge out. And I can be like, that's it. We're like, you can be a teenager. And you can respond on your turn. You can be like, well, you never do this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, ooh, yeah, you're right. That's legit. But we're not opening dialogue. It's just saying like this. Okay. The next round is things that I need to take responsibility for. So I'm like, okay, honestly, like I haven't been showing up in this way. And then pass. So we're just like owning. And then the last round where we just keep going. We keep going for 15 minutes, just circle like this. And the last round is like appreciation, gratitude, celebrations for myself or for others. And like, this is one version. But what happened is after every week we would do this, Thursday evening and Friday morning, we were so tight. Like we were so tight as a group. It just cleared things out. And so I love what you say because like, yeah, things, I don't know. I found like in our group, we needed cleaning. And when we cleaned together, it felt so good. I felt so close to these people. It felt so intimate. And I could do a lot of my own spiritual internal development in a group process, which was it felt so good to get called out on stuff. Oh, like there were some times where people would call me out. I'm like, yeah, that's legit. Like I've been using the vehicle without asking permission. And I get that has made it really difficult for other people to use it. And so, yeah, there's something really beautiful too that, opens up in a group that allows me to do really deep work.
Yeah, that's great to hear that. Know that being in community really brings out more about us our shadows start showing up that we didn't even know we had, some fears, some anger problems that we didn't know we had, anxiety. So the group, the pack, the tribe can help us fine-tune ourselves with each other, especially with spaces, like you said, opening up a circle of truth, circle of calling out, circle of responsibility, being responsible for yourself. And then the circle of gratitude just makes a whole difference of like creating good relationships, go deep. So yeah, I'm happy that you're doing that. Definitely. Sociocracy, for those that don't know, check it out. Sociocracy is a self-governance system, no hierarchy, and it could definitely help many communities, companies even, how to make decisions the best way possible. We're not saying that hierarchy is a bad thing, but it's definitely an option. And the way it's being done, we want to make sure it's the way that we trust, that all of us benefit from. And so the circles that you're doing here with the communities to experience that there's another option of making the decisions, that there's another option how to bring community together, to heal, to solve problems. It's mind-blowing for many of us because nobody really taught us for generations. So yeah.
Can I give a little plug for Sociocracy?
Yeah.
So I love what you say. I like, awesome. Hierarchy, if that works, rock on. It's like also an efficient model. I feel really excited. I think Sociocracy is a system of like tools and practices that allow everyone's voice to be heard and for us to collaborate together and feel empowered. That like I, as a person in this organization or in this community, have the power to change and affect my own experience. And there's a really beautiful question, like who decides who decides? It's a really good book too, but it's like, wait, if a group of peers are coming together, who makes the decision? And Sociocracy starts to look at that. It gives systems and like, how do we make decisions together? So there's like a couple really valuable tools that we found. And one is making proposals. So we can do like a round of like getting ideas from people around a certain decision that needs to be made. And then two people can gather and harvest all of that group input and make a proposal to the group. And then the group can give concerns about that proposal. And then they can refine the proposal. And then we have a decision that actually incorporates like all of the group's intelligence. And what I'm realizing is like when good proposals are made, they're really easy to pass. When the people making the proposals are really listening to like our group's qualities and they're aligned with our aim as a group, it's like amazing how quickly we can make decisions together that actually incorporate the wisdom of everybody in our group. So we can make fast and efficient decisions that are thoughtful and not like rash. But I think a really beautiful tool that Sociocracy also has that's like in the meeting structure is rounds. And it's just literally speaking one after the other, and we do multiple rounds so that everyone's voice can be heard. If you pass, you can just say pass, and it'll come back to you. And it's interesting because it's so funny. So much of my life these days, I'm like trying to convince people to speak in rounds. I'm like, I swear it's amazing. Like you'll see. And I had a friend come and he held a meeting for us. And he said like the Native Americans use a talking stick. And we pass it around. So we speak one at a time and we listen to each other. And he said they believe that this is a gift that came from the Creator to keep harmony with our people. And I almost like wanted to cry because I was like, whoa, like actually that is it. Like this is a gift from the Creator so that we can hear each other and we're not fighting for speaking. And I'm like, I started laughing because I was like, man, I'm trying to convince people. I'm like, this new amazing sociocratic method. Like, I swear it's amazing. And actually, like, this is a gift. Like, this is a gift from the divine. And it's so funny because it's so simple, but on a very practical level, what I realize is like I can be quite assertive and I love speaking and giving my opinion. And so if there isn't a round that has it obvious when it's my turn to speak and not, my voice actually gets heard more and has more influence on the group. That's actually, I don't want that. Like, I want people's voices to be heard that are quieter and don't have that same kind of like push and initiative, that there's actually gold within every person in a group, and actually being able to hear everyone's voice in an efficient way where we're not just like drowning in someone talking for 25 minutes is so valuable. So yeah, there are many systems, holacracy, teal organizations through like the integral lens that actually support the organic and balanced growth of groups of people. So I just want to like really, there's some really good systems out there.
Beautiful. Yes, there's great systems. I love sociocracy. Would you agree that in order to practice these, governance systems, do we need to have a level of self-healing first? I mean, the sociocracy circles and all the governance systems are already a healing process. However, there's a basic level that needs to be covered first in your own life before you start joining. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a really great question. There's a really beautiful book by a guy named Bonzi Buckley. And he talks about organismic groups and like what are the building blocks of an organismic group, which is like a group that is able to very deeply listen and self-organize and doesn't need these like hierarchy structures to be able to function together. And I like what he says, that yeah, like somebody that doesn't have an ability to highly self-regulate will start to drain the energy of the group. Yeah, and I actually relate to that. Like a lot of the containers that we're holding are like this 2-month container is like, hey, this is going to be an intense environment, and it's not a retreat center, it's not a rehabilitation center, and it's not a place for therapy, even though therapy and transformation can happen. That actually you really do need a high degree of the ability to self-regulate and to self-navigate and self-reliance. Yeah, because I think there's something around like, I find this in relationships too. Like there's a difference between codependence and interdependence. It's like, what does it look like for me to be like walking or running and like leaning and then walking and running and leaning versus like fully all of my weight on other people. So yeah, I like in my own experience, I would say yes. And it's trickier over a longer period of time. I just want to say, like, I was at Earth Haven Ecovillage last year, and there was a man there, and his wife died, and his kid died 2 years earlier, and it was like, whoa, like how do you? It's like cool, high degree of self, like, but it's like, yeah, and then it's like if I'm living with people for 30 or 50 years, like real stuff happens. And I think it's a really interesting topic. It's a really interesting topic of like, what does it look like to be able to lean and rely? So yeah, it gets a little more nuanced there, where it's just like, oh man, like he spent the last 30 years of his life there. The 2 people he loved the most in his life just passed away, and he can't go back to his house because there's so much grief. And so he was just living at other people's houses for the next months and months. And what does it look like to also have systems in long-term community that can support like that can support that? They're like, okay, cool, no problem. We have a care system where there's 10 of us that share the load. So yeah, it's a really interesting topic. I'm curious your thoughts on it too. I would love to hear your.
Yeah, so now that you mentioned, more years, 30 years living in an eco-village or something like that, that's possible. Yet I found that there's options, it's not that it's bad, but I feel that it could be more enriching for some of us, not everyone, to change spaces every 10 years or something, or 15 years at least, because we're beings of change. So even if it's a Ecovillage that we're cultivating here, we're going to have a system where there's fresh energy all the time, and that is a lot more benefiting, because we learn about ourselves, we learn about each other, we learn about how to cultivate society or culture overall, and that can establish well after a certain amount of years. But when it goes more than that, it starts getting more complicated and just maybe even boring, or just and there's also power ego, so for example, there's the elders that are like, okay, 30 years, 40 years in the Ecovillage, and they have so much power that subconsciously or unconsciously between the community doesn't allow others to grow. So it's always good to have diversity in a community where there's the elders and the kids and everyone's running around. However, when someone is in this place for so long, and we want to honor that, like seniority, right? Beautiful. But that seniority, again, unconsciously, the person that has a seniority can create somewhat a power over the rest, and those who are there subconsciously or unconsciously give the power to the seniority, right? So I'm sure you've been around the ceremonies and the elders that are very humble, and a lot of the elders are, you have to do it like this, and this has to be, and you have to honor like that. And it's good to honor and respect where everything comes from, but when it's forced, it's a different energy, basically, that we don't want to continue bringing that with us, because we're creating something new, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love this. It's like, what does it look like to have like power with or power together versus power over? And I think a big part of that is like the humility, and it's like, oh, my length of time here allows me to serve more deeply, like serve those and empower others. And it's interesting, as we're talking about this, I realize there also is a difference between, especially in longer term communities, someone going through grief versus drama. And I think drama is something that can actually like really, really drain a group of people. And like maybe like how I would define drama is like unresolved conflict, shit talking each other, like things like this behind, like rather than facing the challenges. And so I think there are like also systems and tools to support us to be able to be like, hey man, I'm really struggling with you. We need support.
Mm-hmm. So you're doing this in Sweden, and the next one coming up in July. How come Sweden?
That's so funny. I grew up in the States, but I've been hanging out in Sweden a lot over the last couple of years, and have just started like building a group of people that I really love over there. There's a place called Ängsbacka in Sweden, which is a great like festival and retreat center that I've been hanging out in the last couple months or couple years. So the organizing team is like 4 Swedish folks and I. So we're hosting it at an aspiring Ecovillage. It's happening like late June to late August this summer. And this aspiring Ecovillage called Solfors is also gorgeous. I mean, there's a beautiful lake and a river, and has some buildings there as well. And it's kind of a perfect marriage, because the owner is looking for new members. And we're like, hey, let's bring 40 people there and see if something also sparks there, that for those who are wanting to live in Europe more long-term, there will be potentially like a year to experiment after our incubator, where you can maybe stay on the land and live with a smaller group of 10 to 12 people. Could be a possibility as well.
Nice. So the place there is already a village or a center?
Exactly. It's like an aspiring eco village with like very few people living there, but it has like a big barn and a couple houses and things like this, but we're actually assimilating like what does it look like to get to almost like a raw piece of land and do that first step, because I think that's actually sometimes the most difficult thing, the hurdle, to be like, well, what happens when we get to this piece of land, like now what? And so we're kind of like simulating that first level of like, okay, we're building our own little kitchens and we have power and water from the Ecovillage that we can lean on.
So it's basically simulating like it's a raw land, almost nothing there, and you're gonna bring all the equipment, all the tents, and build around that, kind of like in Burning Man camp, and each 10 people or so will build a micro culture experience. And then if they want to decide, and if the owner there also connects with everyone, it'll open up to eventually become an eco-village.
Exactly. Like there might be a year experiment afterwards. Exactly.
Gotcha. It's a great way to meet people and really get to know how to build something with these people.
We made a joke like community speed dating.
Yeah. We do our retreats, also kind of like residency type things, specifically to learn how to live in community. So that relates to a healthy regenerative lifestyle, morning ritual workshops in the morning that are more mind, and then in the evening is more body workshops, dance and martial arts or swimming or different things. And we do it from either 3 days, 7 days, 14 days. The longest one we've done 21 days. It's a lot already. And going deeper on a more 2-month or 3-month experience, I definitely resonate with that. And I think it's really important for anybody to go through that experience before committing to a long-term thing with anyone or anywhere. So it's really great that more and more hubs of experience, of community lab, like you're calling it, is important, because even if we're not wanting to learn or wanting to move into an eco-village or some type of community, it's still very enriching to learn how to be with other people. Even if you don't want to plan to live and you still love the city and you want your apartment still, whatever, it's still so enriching to live with other people and learn about the self, learn about community life. Because a whole nother game, it's a whole nother world to live in community. So taking the effort, the courage to confront yourself with community, it's definitely a plus, a must, I would say, but whatever everyone wants to do. So yeah, thank you for doing this. So in terms of expanding, you were saying that after this experience, you wanted to see how more of this methodology or design keeps expanding other places. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I also just want to say it's like, I'm not trying to like I am not trying to change the world. I actually just want to design and create a world that I want to be a part of. And I think it's really as simple as that. And I love what you said. It's like, if you live in a city and you love it, that's amazing. Like, great. Yeah, and like, this is the world that I want to be a part of. Like, I want to live closer to nature. I want to feel more connected. The most joy I've ever felt has been in connection with others. The fastest I've ever grown has been in connection with others as well. And I really value like growth and creativity and things like this. And so I just, yeah, like, I just want to say I love that, like, it's like I feel like we're on the same team, that like these little incubators are popping up. I mean, there's a phrase where it's like the new Buddha, like, is community. You know, the Buddha that's coming is communal beings. And I love that these little incubators are starting to happen to birth. I'm like, is this our new culture? I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to be like, this is the way it's going to be now, but like, this is what I long for. And I feel something happening, which is like, whoa, it's time to birth new beings. and new beings, which are groups of beings. It's like I'm a little body now, but all of a sudden I'm like an arm of this bigger body. Like I need new skills and tools to be able to like navigate so I can walk with this bigger being. And like what I would wish for, I mean, Mars College was what kind of gave us the inspiration, like longing for these other incubators to start emerging. And I think they already are, but like to start hearing more about other incubators, to start supporting, like long-term community beings that are also interacting with each other. And it's like, oh, I have my personal friends. What if communities were beings that had their friends? Brings me so much joy of just like, yo, this is what we're up to. Check this other place out. Like they're amazing. Like our sister community, our sister friend, our cousin community. I don't know. It comes down to this really simple things where it's like, I notice when I walk around some retreat centers or some little communities, there's little signs everywhere that are like, love this way, or like, you're loved as you are, or like, be mindful of your step. And I'm just like, wow. Like, this wasn't in New York City when I was walking around New York City. Like one of the street signs in this little eco-village was like, everything is possible way. And I'm like, man, I think it's simple as that. Like, I want to be a part of a little world where like everywhere that I look is like feeding my own values or feeding my own joy. So like I would long for a world where more people were able to experience that, and whatever that looks like for them. It's not for everybody that they want to see little joy, little things everywhere. Maybe for others, it's like really clear directions, or like there's a really amazing tool shed that they can like build stuff with. You know, I think it's possible on smaller scales, if that makes sense. It's possible to have like a really, really epic, customized life at smaller scales.
Love it, man. Love it. Yeah, I am very happy and joyful for all this movement of expanding the awareness of community, the importance of community, the growth of community in every aspect, building and designing our own culture, our own world, co-building, co-designing our culture and world. So I'm very happy to meet you. I'm very excited that you're doing this, and I'm wishing and sending much love for your success. And your website is Community Lab
.life.
Community Lab.life. Awesome. And you also have Instagram account.
Community.lab.life, baby.
Perfect. Great. And so in terms of learning more about this 2-month experience coming up, and you said June,
Mm-hmm.
We go to that website, we can sign up, maybe contact you to learn more, probably a process of registration and interview.
Yep.
And then after that, what happens after that experience? People decide to stay, or they can be involved with this project and do it again, replicate it in other places probably. So I can see that happening. And
so urban plant, like, you know, getting an apartment building together and running it for 2 months there, for example. Lots of applications.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, congratulations. What a great idea in expanding this. Eventually I would love to come around. I'm pretty far in Ecuador right now, but eventually I would want to join something like that or make it happen over here. We kind of do similar things, so we can find ways how to collab there. I travel a lot to Mexico and Florida. Maybe it's closer for you, so we can do things over there, have communities over there too. And what else?
Yoshi, I want to say thank you so much. Both, like, thanks for having me, but also thank you for the work that you're doing in the communal world and offering spaces and places for people to more deeply dive into themselves and be in connection with others are so valuable. So thank you for offering a space, because you're right. Like, it's not something that I learned as a kid. I didn't learn at school how to regulate my emotions or to listen and grieve and to cry in public. That's actually kind of the opposite of what I got, unfortunately. But yeah. Yeah, maybe like the last thing that I want to say is we want to do our best to document as much as we can to inspire others to do similar things. So first of all, it's like, if you're curious about this project, get on our website and apply for a camp that you like, have an interview, come to the 2-month incubator. And if you're curious, do it again with us next year, or design something similar in another place. Like, we want to give as much information and support to people wanting to do this, to be like, yes, more and more places. That's what we would long for.
Amazing. So yes, the advice or the message here is to take action, to get out there and live in community. You can join our brother here, Bodhi, in Community Lab. You can come to Ecuador to join us if you like, or you can create your own. Get out there, and however it comes out, that's the experience. That's the learning experience for you to basically push ahead of the game and do the effort of expanding our awareness, our consciousness through community living. So that's the amazing thing that is possible, that we didn't know it was possible. We think there's a whole world out there that's limiting us, but we're not letting ourselves being limited. There's always a way to solve problems, always a way to create our own reality. And it's up to us in having these conversations and take action with it. So thank you, hermano Bodhi. I appreciate you. See you next time. We're going to be having updates on this, so we'll have this conversation more and more. So I'm going to turn off this recording here. Gracias.
Gracias.